Today, I'm sitting down with the zombie of John B. Denton, or at least someone who plays that. If you didn't know Dr. Shaun Treat, now you will. He's a former UNT professor, local historian, and founder of Little D's Tours and Denton Haunts. Dr. Treat has spent decades uncovering the stories, folklore, and hidden gems that make Denton so unique, sharing the history, hauntings, and heart of the city like no one else can. Denton's got it all: the food, the music, the art, and of course the people. And behind every corner, there's a story worth sharing. And that's what this podcast is all about. Denton's best, one conversation at a time. I'm Brad, and this is If You Didn't Know, Now You Know. Okay, welcome back to another episode of If You Didn't Know. Today, if you didn't know Dr. Treat, Dr. Shaun Treat, you will. Looking forward to my discussion with you, Dr. Treat. Thanks for being here.
Hey, glad to be here, Brad. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. We technically met a day ago,
right.
But it's only been a day, and I already have been fascinated with some of the conversations we've had. And so I heard about you before meeting you.
Uh-oh.
And that's probably, okay. I bet other people have kind of discovered you the same way. They've heard about you before they've met you.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. But no, I did. I guess I teased that at the beginning that I'd heard someone in my office had said, hey, there's, as a part of the Denton Halloween days, that there's somebody kind of dressing up and telling stories as the zombie of John B. Denton on the courthouse lawn. And so that was a few weeks ago. Ever since, I've been kind of watching out, like when is he there? I hadn't seen you, but I've been kind of watching for you. So how's that been?
It's been a lot of fun. That started with, I do ghost tours on the weekend. Gary Packin with the city had approached me when the whole Halloween idea was starting to hatch. And he said, we need ghost tours. And I said, great, I got him. And we also had discussion about like his bucket list. I think I was kind of pre-gaming with you a little bit about, he wanted like a, headless horseman on horseback and things like that. And the more I thought about it, I thought, zombie of John Denton. I think that's more on brand, right? So I put together a little costume over a few months and kind of worked that out. And then, so I walk around the square once in a while. I mean, they give me a little schedule that they like me to be out for certain events. But when I lead the ghost tours, about half the time I'm in costume as a zombie of John Denton, or what you see me in now, which is a Ghostbusters outfit.
Yeah. I didn't give you a shout out to that. That is a great outfit. Those that are listening, you can check us out on YouTube as well and see. But you've probably seen the Ghostbusters folks hanging around the square. If you've been downtown this month at all, you've probably seen your kind, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. Your people.
Yeah. Well, I want to come back to a lot of that discussion, but let me just hit on this. So
sure. When
this episode will release on Halloween.
All right.
Yeah, October 31st, Halloween, it releases. And so is there still an opportunity on this, if somebody listens to this today, to see you kind of doing your thing? Is there one more opportunity maybe?
Yes. So
on Friday night?
Couple opportunities, yeah. So I'll be leading tours this weekend. So also Saturday, November 1st, I got some tickets available. So people, I've got them on Eventbrite. Just look up, Denton Ghost Tours. I'm the only one there.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to be, dressed as John Denton this weekend since it's prime time, baby.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like watching all these kids run around in Halloween costumes. I'm like, man, it used to be one day for me. You guys get a whole month here. They're excited. But I'm also extending the tour, so I'm leading them also in the first couple weekends in November. And the reason is there's a lot of people who are involved with Halloween that I want to treat to having, come take the tour and things like that, who work for the city. And busy, they're doing Halloween things.
Yeah.
And they come up to me and they're like, oh, man, I was just so busy I couldn't make it. And I was like, don't worry, come walk along on one of these other tours.
Yeah.
So they'll have a chance to see that. And then this weekend also on Saturday, is the We Denton Dig It at the Denton Historic Park. And I'll be wearing my John B. Denton get up there, and I'll be talking to kids and their parents about the old days of Denton. So
all right.
So a couple opportunities.
Still some opportunities this weekend if you're listening to this on Halloween to check him out. But this is something you're doing beyond that. So we'll get into that. But first, I I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. You didn't grow up around here, but you've been here a little bit. I guess connected to
Right.
to University of North Texas is kind of what brought you here.
Yeah,
right?
it's like Sam Houston said, right? I got here as quick as I could.
Right.
So I was born and raised in Fayetteville, Arkansas, up in the Northwest Arkansas Ozarks, and I got my bachelor's degree and master's degree at the University of Arkansas Fayetteville. Woo Pig Suey.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful area.
oh no, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous up there. And then once I did that, I went to work for a while. Worked for JB Hunt Transport, doing like weekend national accounts. But I did that for almost 2 years, and I was just like, man, I want to go back and get my PhD.
Okay.
I'm that kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I went. I got into LSU, went to LSU, and got my degree. And then I had an interview here in Denton for a professor job here, and I came up to visit. And so that's kind of how I got here. And I just
see.
fell in love with it, like from the go, man. Like walking around the square, that beautiful courthouse, and
Yeah.
just the whole thing. There's part of it that feels like stepping back in time. And you grew up here. I don't have to explain it
Right.
to you.
Right. No, it's cool. It is so cool. Well, that was kind of your first impression. Some of your
Yeah.
first impressions of Denton is the square, which it is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kind of their first maybe visit in Denton might be downtown, but there's certainly a lot of other great things in
Oh, yeah.
our city. But that courthouse is so iconic, just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
Denton, you're right. I mean, that's the thing. That the longer I'm here, I find something new all the time, Brad.
Yeah.
I mean, because new things are happening, new places are evolving, right? There's always I call them pockets of groovy. Mm-hmm. I'm always looking for the new pockets of groovy.
Well, that's what we're trying to do on this podcast. Just uncover some of
There you
those so
go.
that
Okay.
more people get a chance to discover those that are around here or maybe aren't from here, or haven't been here very long. So, but you did end up taking a job at
Oh, yeah.
UNT as a professor, right?
That's right.
In communications.
That's right. So communication studies, and what that is my area specializes in rhetoric, which is the history of persuasion and public speaking. So,
Okay.
The old days, right? So all the way from like classical Greece and Rome, the Roman Empire era, and then up through contemporary times, the Enlightenment, et cetera, et cetera. So part of that means that plugs in here because I spend a lot of time in the archives. So I'm an archivist.
right.
And do research that way, but I also have like a natural, already built-in interest, right? That's part of the reason I was attracted to that academic pursuit was stories and history of places. So getting to Denton, I'm spending time in the archives, I'm getting to know the librarians, and I'm also starting to chew on the Denton history, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to get familiar with that, and that's what really got me interested in that. Met a lot, started hanging out with the old historians, right? Mike Cochran and folks like that who know the stories.
Randy
And,
Hunt. Yeah. those
the
kind
Randy
of-
Hunt. Oh yeah, no, Randy Hunt over there. He's great.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing, like getting to know all these folks, then that just kind of drew me in, and it sticks. I mean, I don't have to try; it just kind of sticks.
Yeah. So as someone who's taught kind of the history of communications and what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned and kind of how communications have evolved or are we really kind of doing it the same way and just using some new methods to communicate?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, part of let me put it this way. So there are certain things that are absolutely timeless about communication, right? I mean, the ability to communicate, and I mean, it's a cliche. Oh, it's all about communication, baby.
Right.
But what does that mean?
Right.
Communicating your ideas effectively, learning to deliberate in a civic society in civil ways.
Yeah.
These are important timeless lessons, right? And so I always take it back to one of the things I like to talk about whenever I'm introducing kids to the class and they're having an introduction to rhetoric. And I'm said, okay, this is kind of like taking a class at Hogwarts. Any Harry Potter fans here? I said, this class is defense against the dark arts.
Okay.
Because I'm going to teach you, right, these time-proven formulas and recipes
Right.
for engaging in public speaking, deliberation, argumentation. And some of those, I mean, we call it persuasion when we like it, and we call it propaganda when we don't.
Mm-hmm. But
Right?
trying to bring
and
people
education
to your,
is in
your
between.
side. Yeah.
Well, the idea is to learn to see multiple sides.
Right.
And to me, that's the game of it, is that what you do is teach people to understand another perspective. And even if you don't agree with it 100%, you at least take the time to listen and kind of parse through it and have an honest, genuine exchange of ideas.
Wow.
And so that's timeless. That's the timeless stuff. Now,
It's
now
timeless, but
changes.
it doesn't seem like we're doing it enough
Well, it's
today.
Like, well, my man, it's like most things that we do. I mean, we walk every day, we talk
Yeah.
every day, we eat every day, but do we do it well?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, quality. That's kind of one of the things too. Is like most people are afraid of public speaking, and guess what? That's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, overcoming that fear is also one that's kind of essential. And I'm like, there's only one secret to it, and that's practice. You've got to practice doing it. And by doing that, then you learn to be able to kind of control those fears and channel them into something different.
Sure. Very cool. Well, we could spend a
Sure.
lot of time talking about that. And I had Kevin Roden on a few episodes ago.
Oh,
and
Kevin,
he really, helped us kind of think about new ways and improve ways to kind of communicate and start to see other people's points of view.
Yeah, his
and-
drink and think events are very
That's
much
right.
oriented around those
Exactly.
very public conversations, and I enjoy those a lot for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get into some of the Denton history and,
Sure.
and maybe take a little dive. One of the things I know also you've kind of got you've got on your bucket list. You talked about Gary's bucket list, but you've got on yours of bringing the trolley back.
Yeah.
What's the history of the Denton trolley? Maybe tell us just a little history of some of the interesting things you think about the courthouse, the square,
Yeah.
and I do want to hear the trolley history and kind of what your thoughts are in bringing that back.
Right. I mean, so there's a lot of things we can talk about in terms of like the character and kind of DNA of Denton as being this kind of frontier settlement. It evolved kind of slowly and deliberately and had all types of people here. But, the game changer was whenever the railroad showed up.
Right.
So that's what connects you to the larger world, right? So when that happened, that was very much a game changer. Denton was the county seat.
So that's late 1800s.
Yeah, that's like 1880s, 1890s when the railroad's really running, and that just changes all kinds of things top to bottom for the town. But the trolleys come along in early 1900. So about 1911, 1913, somewhere in there. So this idea of having connectivity in towns and cities was taking hold. And so trolleys became streetcars. These become mass transit starts to become a conversation, right?
Okay.
Because not everybody could afford cars,
Right.
right? How are you getting around? Horse and buggy. I mean, those are the photos I love, is when you see Denton, like literally these two different eras straddling where you've got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Horse
You've
and
got
buggy
wagons and horse and buggies out there on the square, but then you see these little cars,
Cars, yeah.
here and there. So that was a way of like basically for the average person, right, to be able to get around this kind of growing town in a way that was efficient and cheap, right? And that's what wound up killing the trolley. So is automobiles. And
So the
automotive
trolley
industry,
was running certainly east-west on Hickory and Oak, and then north-south on Locust
Correct.
and Elm. Was that the
Sort
primary?
of. So yeah, it came a little bit ways down Elm, but the main routes where they had two main trolley routes, they connected the downtown to the train station.
Right.
And then they
On Hickory.
Correct. That's right. The old train station, that's where that big parking lot across from
right.
the police station is. But they also connected the campuses. So one went up to TWU and then one went down to UNT, but it actually went all the way down to Roselawn Park. And that cemetery that's out there,
Yeah.
people used to picnic out there. That was a very popular picnic spot in that cemetery.
Wow.
I mean,
Trolley went that far
The
out.
trolley went that far out,
Wow,
which is
okay.
pretty wild when you think
Yeah.
about the footprint and the access that gives. But that also explains why things grew the way they did during that period, because guess where people wanted to live, Brad?
Close to that trolley.
Close to that trolley.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that got started, and then it wound up getting killed because basically big oil and automobile industry, they were like, public transit, no, we want everybody to have a car. And so then that gets shot in the head like Old Yeller. And then that's one of the reasons that Texas has really struggled with some type of mass transit system since then, is because they prioritize the independence of having an automobile and driving wherever you want. But, the bigger and more congested it gets, then the more downside there is.
Yeah.
And I'll just admit, I love riding a train. So that trolley idea that did hang on in other places. You've been to San Francisco, right? I mean, you go to other places that have these streetcars and trolleys. It does feel like kind of this carry over from another era in time. So there's a certain nostalgia that can kind of get attached to it.
Yeah.
And a romanticism and a way to see things at a bit of a slower pace. I see more of a place
No doubt.
like that. You know what I mean? And even taking the train.
No, I've started walking a lot more in the last couple of years, but being able to walk the city and walk different areas.
So huge.
You see it very differently than you do in a vehicle.
That's absolutely right.
So same kind of concept. You would experience it differently in a trolley for sure. I would have no doubt. Huh. So you want to try and bring it back?
So yes, this is my Quixote quest because one of the things, of course, that Brad, if you had to name the number one complaint you hear people complain in Denton about all the time, what is that?
I hear a lot of parking.
You hear a lot about parking,
Yeah.
which is actually BS.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you study walkable cities, and that's why I love seeing you at the Stronger Towns meeting, because that's one of the things it really focuses on is kind of rethinking how we do towns, and to be more thoughtful and deliberate about how we then develop them.
Right.
Which is why I've been a fan of yours for a while now. Actually, I'll tell you later. Yeah, but I've been a fan of yours for a while. But part of that is also thinking about this issue of walkability and the deliberateness of a place. One place I compare it to is if you've ever been to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
The construction of Savannah, that downtown, was because if you've ever tried to drive it, it's frustrating as hell because you've got stop signs like literally every block.
Yeah.
Right? There are no street
that
lights.
traffic
It's slow.
down.
Well, that was intentional. So the guy that designed Savannah, Georgia, that was with the intention of promoting a more a slower pace, more deliberate and thoughtful lifestyle.
I like it.
So when you think about city design, and it's like, no, we designed it that way intentionally, because you can, if you've been to Savannah, and I've been several times, you can walk it quicker than you can drive it.
I see. Yeah.
So, but it does make you see more. So you see more things, you experience more things. And so, but since most people prioritize speed and getting there and not, I want a parking spot, they don't think about how if you go to Austin, you go to Dallas, you're going to be walking. You're going to be parking and walking. I don't care where you're at. And even if you're in a big old parking garage, guess what? You're going to have to go down 5 stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, you're walking, you're getting around.
There's something in the mindset that makes you feel better about that, but it's really not. It's not
a
even
habit.
better. Yeah.
It's a bad habit.
Yeah.
So,
I think Denton has done a really good job on East Hickory.
As
an example of that. There's not a stop sign between the square and Bell, but there is a road diet, two-way streets.
Right.
The back-in parking, which I know is controversial, but
know.
that in of itself gets people thinking and slowing down and kind of being a little more methodical in the way.
Right.
And of course the streetscapes, the sidewalk,
Yeah.
everything about it makes it very pedestrian friendly, and you never feel. I've never felt like I'm in, that it's dangerous to be walking down there or crossing the street, even not in a crosswalk, because the traffic's so slow and methodical.
See, that's the difference. Is I think that the safety mindset first, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up. That's the thing. You if you're going to have a gun, you're going to go hunting. I can't tell you. Every year we'd take a gun safety class, and it's always every gun's a loaded gun.
Yeah.
Safety first. Like you always even somebody hands you a gun and tells you it's empty. What do?
Yeah.
You check it. You clock it. You see it for yourself, right? Well, the same deliberateness, safety first, right? Rather than speed, rather than convenience, right? The idea is if you build it with safety in mind, and then these other things will follow. It has these other benefits. Now, again, that's really hard to explain and try to convince people and compel them to, because you've got a lot of built-in thinking, right, in terms of like how they want to get around. Because I always like to say, and I know several business owners on the square, and they talk about when they talk about parking on the square. Well, I remember when you used to park up there, and it's like, what was there? What was there?
Was there?
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's why it was so easy to park. There was literally not much there.
Yeah.
And so they shut down the streets for several events here in town. And I've got one business owner buddy of mine, Tim at More Fun Comics. I don't know if you go in there. Me and Tim have been buddies for a long time, but he texted me. He was like, "Man, nowhere to park on the square, and here I am doing record numbers of business." Here.
Exactly. Exactly. The foot traffic is there. I mean, people getting there, and it's
people mingle. They're able to take their time. They're able to have kind of a leisurely, and like you said, if you're not having to worry about your safety,
right.
Your head's on a swivel. You're seeing new stuff walking around.
Yeah. Well, another
Sorry.
topic I could spend forever on.
man,
I mean,
yeah.
as a contrast, East Hickory is South Elm, where we are located, and I love the southern
Yeah.
downtown area. But South Elm, conversely, is 3 lanes.
Correct.
Almost. I mean, there is a stoplight or two, but it just is it's a speedway. I mean, that's how people treat it.
That's
and
how they treat
especially
it.
now
That's
that
right.
the road's been repaved and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
smooth. But anyway, I think we've got some room for improvement. But
Yeah.
I think for me, seeing everything that's flourished around East Hickory, all the
Yeah.
businesses and the redevelopment in that area,
Yeah.
is just one more proof that I think
Yeah.
there's something to that approach.
There's something there. No, there's definitely something there, and I think you're right. I think it's something that's replicable.
Yeah,
Right.
we can do it.
Absolutely.
Well, so let's get back to some history, though.
Sure,
You've got you do the ghost tours. Tell us maybe one of your favorite ghost stories, and I don't want to spoil this just so that people don't have to come and actually take one of your tours, but give us a little sense of what we're talking about here.
Sure. I mean, man, that's like choosing your favorite children. But, but Brad, I actually brought you a ghost story. So I heard you on a podcast. I think it was just this month, and they were asking you about the Fine Arts Theater.
Yeah.
And said, "Do you know any ghost stories?" You said, "No, I don't know any ghost stories." So I'm like, so I'm going to give you a couple ghost stories to put in your pocket.
For the fine arts?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Let's
Okay.
go.
All right. So first of all, I know you guys did a historic survey of that building, so you know what it was before it was Fine Arts, right?
Correct.
So the
Undertaker and
there you go. Yeah. So it was actually Shepherd Funeral Home, right?
Okay.
So it was Harwell Shepherd's dad, VW, I think is his name, 1890s. So he was great story about him. He was a carpenter, and he didn't mean to go into the undertaking business. But back in the day, and this is true of a lot of the Wild West towns that sprung up, if you did woodworking and made furniture and stuff like that, guess what else you made a lot of?
some coffins.
You made coffins.
Yeah.
And so by necessity, that was kind of a business flex.
Okay.
Right? And so you're also making coffins. And so then that leads into, well, I guess I better get an undertaker or some type of mortuary, right? I mean, so that's how that was there
I
until
see.
Shepherd's Funeral Home. And then that winds up becoming Schmidt's, actually. So a lot of people recognize Schmidt's, right?
Yeah.
But that space, so the ghost stories I tell about that spot, because you're right, that is such an iconic spot. And I love how you are really thinking about it as an anchor spot on the square to like help be a draw for everything else that's on the square. But like the anchor is the reason like people come, right? And so I always like to integrate the places with personality on the tour because I don't do just ghost stories. It's haunted history. So I really want to build it around the character of a place,
The
right?
history of it, yeah.
That's it. So the Texas Theater, then the Fine Arts Theater. So while it was the Texas Theater, there's a story, and I haven't checked the historic veracity of it yet, so I can't speak for that. But the story goes that there was a woman and her boyfriend were there seeing a movie at the Texas Theater together whenever her husband showed up with a loaded gun in the darkness of the theater.
Oh, wow. No, I haven't heard this.
And so what happened was then everybody in the theater, as my daughter would say, GTFO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they beat it out of there really quickly once they started like talking and having words or whatever. And so they're running out of the theater screaming, and the husband winds up killing them both, shooting them both dead in the theater. He winds up going out in the front of the Texas Theater. That's when back in the day they had foot patrolmen. So a foot patrolman is in
Right.
the 50s. He sees everybody coming out of their hair on fire, right? So he shows up. So there's a confrontation in the front, and the guy winds up killing himself in front of the Fine Arts Theater.
Right there outside.
Right outside, right under the marquee. So
Never heard this.
well, and I've heard this from a couple sources. So like one of my go-to people, ride or die, is Emily Fowler librarians. These people are like, by this time, I consider them friends, right? Laura Douglas, her mom has some old stories about the Flo Hospital and Nurse Betty at Flo Hospital because her mom was a nurse there. And she started a little folder of like ghost stories in Denton. And whenever I discovered those and started talking to her, then we're off to the races, right? So it's just these tidbits we come across and just kind of throw it in this folder for each other to see, right?
Yeah.
But so that was a story, and that's the start of a story and ghosts and hauntings, etc. But my favorite story, if I'll do it real quick, is actually a story about that was written in. So every October, the Denton Record Chronicle would have people like they'd say, send us your Halloween stories, send us your ghost stories, right? Like half of this stuff, not great, but the other half is just solid gold, man.
Okay, yeah.
People are sending in stuff saying, oh, I remember the old days. My grandpa told me, right? But there was a letter that was written in by one of the deputies of Andy Anderson. So he worked for the city police. And apparently this was back whenever they were doing, gosh, it must have been the 40s or early 50s. They were doing a double matinee of those Universal monster movies, you know, like Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, all that stuff. So so kids could go for 12 cents, go see a double feature.
I was going to say we're gonna bring those double features back. I don't know that they'll be 12 cents.
No.
But no, that's cool. Okay.
but so apparently there were some kids that were engaged in a little hooliganism, and they were going down Elm Street, and what they were doing, the old ladies were calling the city police complaining. They said, look, these little rascals, they're coming down here and they're ripping out our rose bushes and they're tearing down our picket fence and they're playing mailbox baseball. And let me tell you, Brad, if there is a Circle of Dante's Inferno for mailbox baseball, I'm going there. But the police were tasked with like putting an end to this. So what happened was one of the deputies said, we pulled up alongside, we saw these kids come out of that 12-cent double feature, and they were headed down Oak Street, and we figured this is our gang. So we pull up beside them and we said, boys, you need to go home immediately. There's a wolf man in town. And we've had reports of a wolf man on the loose. And you need to get home. You need to get behind locked doors. And you do it now. Don't be dallying around here. And so then he said that his partner in the car said, we just got another call. Somebody had a wolf man sighting. So they turn on the sirens. And they tear out of there, right? And they're looking in the rearview mirrors to watch these kids, you know, see what their reaction is. And, you know, they're taking it with a grain of salt, not believing it really. But they start headed down Oak Street, and what they do is they drive ahead in the squad car, pull up behind the hedge. They turn the lights off. They turn the engine off. It's dark, waiting for these kids to come down, and that's when they flip a coin to see who gets to be the wolf man.
Okay.
So the person who wins a coin toss takes the mic to the big speaker, to the police car. They wait for those boys to come down there. And whenever they're getting just close enough to maybe see him, but not close enough, he turns the mic on and goes, ho, 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 ho. He said they scattered like quail. And they were in their homes, under the covers, lights out, doors shut, before they could even restart the squad car. And
put an end to that little gang.
I love that story because that's just such a little Mayberry, like Andy Griffith version of like, this is back in the day, and this is how we kind of did
You can see Andy
those
Griffin
things.
coming up with that idea and trying that.
Isn't that a great story?
That is really cool.
So I love telling that story. It's kind of a palate cleanser from, you know, because I'm like, you know, these are some of the shenanigans that you would encounter in old days of Denton.
Yeah. Wow. That's a fascinating story. Well, so now what you're doing, one of the things you're doing, in addition to trying to get the trolley back, your campaign for that, is your little detours. So, and that's kind of taking some of these stories, all this history that you've learned, and kind of your skills in communicating and telling stories, and doing that. So, how did that get started, and kind of where? You know, what kind of tours and experiences do you offer?
Yeah, so it all started with the ghost tour. So that started back in 2010 or so. My partner just got tired of hearing me keep telling her the same stories with new stuff I was finding, new tidbits. She's like, why don't you just hang out a shingle and tell other people?
Yeah. Tell somebody else. I'm tired of listening. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure your partner, like, she gets to hear about old buildings and rehabs, and, you know, it's like, okay, we're going to talk about that again. Okay.
Yeah.
So to her credit, you know. So I started leading the ghost tours, but more recently, just because of the tourism angle and things, and one of the things I'd love when I travel, I take the history tours during the day, and if there's a ghost tour, I'll take it at night. I love to compare notes and just learn about a place, right? Really experience it that way. So I always thought, like, why don't do that in Denton, right? And so that's kind of how the ghost stories got started. But I broadened it out because, like you say, there's also history. And so part of that is like, you know, they're trying to kick up with Embassy Suites. We're trying to really up our tourism game and draw people in and give them things to do on the square to get them down there, right? Get them down there moving around. But they want to have that connection to a place. So that's where I kind of broadened it out. So the idea of little detours, right? Well,
detour,
a little cute, but
No,
I like it. I mean, but yeah, so that idea was like to kind of broaden the offerings in terms of being able to say, okay, well, let's do some history tours. And so have a variety of things to talk about, like not only like Wild West history. There's one that I'm working on now. I'm actually going to deliver for one of the women's groups down at Robeson Ranch. It's the history of Denton is told through its women.
Okay.
And so that's one of Denton's got a lot of amazing women in history, man. There's a lot of wild stories. So I call it like Denton Wild Women of history, right? And then, just be able to also had like foodie tours or pub crawls or things like that. So the idea is like, hey, I can be your downtown concierge and I can put together a package for you. You tell me what you like and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I can kind of put something together for you.
And so you can do that for a family or a business,
right.
a small group,
Yeah.
or obviously you've got some kind of prepackaged things that you do as well. But yeah, if I want to bring our whole company
That's it.
by, and you can just say, hey,
tell me what you want, man. Yeah, and we'll put something together because
cool.
there's lots of different ways to experience Denton, right? And how you kind of slice it up and see it is going to give you kind of a different roadmap.
Well, this gives me a great thought when I get like my son's in-laws in town, for example.
Oh, there you go.
That are from out of state.
Yeah.
Well, we come to the square, we walk around, we do a little shopping and eating, and that's great.
Yeah.
And then of course we have to go to Buc-ee's. Go check out.
No,
Buc-ee's.
that's required.
That's required.
I think that's written into Texas law now, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. But no, we're missing out on some. I mean, I only know so much about it, really, and it's pretty limited. So to be able to think about, okay, I can book Dr. Treat to show us around. And tell us some
wedding
stories.
groups. I'll tell you, even I'm trying to
Very
get
cool.
the universities to think about when the parents come in and shop with students of a place.
Mm-hmm.
And have a tour like, hey, welcome to Denton. Just have a howdy tour.
Part of the orientation. Yeah.
Right.
So again, where can people find you and get connected with you for these kind of tours?
Sure. So I have both Denton Haunts and now I have Little Detours. I have pages on Facebook. A lot of the olds use Facebook. The youngs love the TikToks and the other ones. I'm working on a website to get a website up that'll be able to serve it. But there's also just dentonhaunts@gmail.com. So hit me up. I've got cards and things at the Visitors Bureau, Discover Denton, and out at Embassy Suites. But yeah, just shoot me an email. Tell me what you got in mind, and then I'll kind of create a tour that way.
Cool. Well, I know you mentioned to me yesterday that you've got an upcoming walking art crawl.
Oh, that's right.
Tour,
yeah.
Right. And so we had Dan Black on here not long ago and talked about some of the murals that he's got in town and lots of other great artists. But so what's the idea here? Just showing off some of that art that's around town?
Well, yeah, because this is one of the things. There's always the why. Like, why do it? So I think there's not only lots of interest, but we have lots of art. And most people, unless you're really into art, like I am, you may not know who the artists are.
Yeah.
What's the story of that? How'd it get there? So I always ask the why. Why is that there? How'd that get there? Right. And there's plenty to see and savor. And that's the thing is, even people that walk this square all the time, like I do, I swear, like something new happens. You know what it's like. I mean, that's the thing. You live in a town like this. It's like, oh, there's a new mural or there's a new thing up, or So I'm working with the Downtown Denton Foundation in conjunction with the Main Street Association, and so they've been looking to put together package events for First Fridays.
Okay.
So the first Friday of like November and December. So I'd kind of help. I've already been helping them do the. They do a historic building bar tour, and they also do a couple of other events that they do that are walks like this. They sell tickets to it, and then we lead groups. And I basically create a script for several people to do it in waves, so we can accommodate as many people as possible. So this is me trying to start something that I think a lot of Denton folks and out of Denton folks would be interested in, is experience and see the art. Just within the downtown. And because I'm blown away, I'm trying to fit it into like an hour and a half, 2-hour tour. And
you've got that much to show off.
This is like Sophie's Choice, man, because there's so much stuff. I could literally leave. Well, I was talking at our Stronger Denton, whenever Brad, he brought up that he and his partner wanted to see an art walk or a mural walk. And I was like, well, I got you covered, man. We got to start. We got to start here. But, his comment was, we could literally do this every month and have a different route. And I said, that's great.
You could.
If you want to help me with that, we can make it happen.
So that's part of the Main Street's first
Yeah,
Fridays
so watch for
event.
tickets for First Friday in November, and that's coming up next week, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to have some tickets available. online through it's the Denton Foundation, but Main Street Association is going to help us promote it. And so, yeah, we'll charge for tickets for people to be able to take the tour, and then we'll have a couple of different groups that'll go around. And then, yeah, if somebody wants to go off book with me, I've got a couple of hidden specials.
Okay.
That we might have a little bonus round.
Count me in, Dr. Treat. I'm excited about this. That's going to be fun.
You're in.
All right. Well, I want to kind of wrap up and ask you. I mean, you've seen a lot of different places in this town. What are some of your favorite places to go? Maybe go eat or go hang
here
out
we go.
with?
The lightning around. Man, see, that's going to get me in trouble. So there's a lot of places I love to eat here because it depends on what I'm hankering for. Because that's the other thing. I don't think that our Mexican food scene gets enough love.
Right.
I mean, I will say me and my partner will get on a bike and we'll ride down McKinney Street. And we'll work that taco corridor there and just bounce from place to place and just have one thing each and share it.
Yeah.
And that way you try new things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And also try
Lots of great taquerias
learn to
down
habla español a little too. So that's good, right?
Yep.
But the idea is like, what do people get here, and watch what other people order, and things like that. So I have my little favorites for that. But my go-to spot is the Chestnut Tree, just hands down. I mean, just general, like whatever. I just love that little spot, and Chef Suzanne does an amazing job.
Suzanne's
Everything there is
great,
just
yeah.
really special. So yeah, there's a lot of great spots, but if I had to pick one, that's it. My favorite place to shop though is More Fun Comics and Games on the Square, because he's a person you need to talk to, because I think he's one of the most successful entrepreneurs on the square that most people have no idea.
Okay.
That Tim has the comic and toy store and the toy store there.
He's got both stores.
He's got both of those stores going. Yeah, and that and you've had a role in this, that South Side. I mean, that is, to me, that is the draw for the square right now. I mean, you guys played a role in free play, getting them back. God love you. You know, the Fine Arts Theater is a big project, and just creating destinations, right, that help. Again, it's a reason for people to come and visit and linger and stay a while. And so no matter what your age is, you can find something to do.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'll go hit up Chestnut Tree and give them a new visit.
Hey,
Suzanne's great. So, all right, I'm going to ask you, this might be a tough question to answer. I don't know. I think it would be for me, but if you could go back in history now, in Denton history, and pick any decade to hang out for a month.
Oh, man.
What decade would you pick?
Oh, Brad, that is a hard question. So, of course, I'm going to surprise you with my answer here, Brad.
Okay.
Because I think, like most people would say, oh, I bet he's going to pick somewhere way, way back in the day. And that's true. That was my first instinct when I think about this question. But I'll be honest with you. Like, I think the most exciting time has been within the last 10 years.
Okay.
And here's why. It's this kind of revitalization, this renaissance of the downtown. When you think about when I think about what the footprint looked like when I got here in 2006 in downtown.
It was very different even 20 years ago. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, 20 years ago, but even within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So that era, I think this is one of the most exciting times. I mean, I think I'd have to place it second to when the railroad got here, because that was such a game changer, right? But at the same time, this revitalization of downtown, this is something that every town wishes they could do, and you hear people talk about it from every small town in Texas. But it's hard to make happen because it does take a community. But it also takes people like you, who you see a project. This is one of the things that impressed me about you, Brad.
Oh boy.
Is the Fine Arts Theater, and hearing you talk about the Fine Arts Theater with Reimer and the rest of the cats who are bringing the Texas theater vibe up here, because I love that formula that they made work down in Oak Cliff. I mean, just genius, right?
Yeah, it's a great
and
formula.
it's a little bit of everything for everyone, right?
It's what the community wants.
It's what
whatever
they love.
want.
No,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, because it becomes this like buffet.
Yeah.
And then there are things that you find out that you love that you didn't even know you want.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But it's because they offer it, because they put it on there, and it becomes a draw. But I love that you look at a historic building like the Fine Arts, and I've heard you talk about like walking in, and I think you even made the comment, you're like, yeah, you can put $100, $200, $300,000 in a place and not really know yet what you're really getting into.
Yeah. And
And it takes a certain type of moxie to like, because they ask you like, what would your recommendation be if somebody wants to redo it? And you said, well, my first instinct is to say run, but obviously I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, but the idea is you got to have a love, you got to have a passion for it, and you got to have an interest.
Yeah.
And that is what drives that change, because that translates. That passion and interest is contagious. And I'd like to think that that's one of the things that telling stories about Denton does, is it also gets people excited and invested, and really think about like what they love about this place. The ones that cry about old Denton and what was past, and it's like, it reminds me of the old joke. It's like, everybody wants to talk about the good old days. They don't want to talk about the bad old days. But for most people, the good old days, when you nail them down, it was when they were kids.
Yeah.
It was when they were kids.
Nostalgia. Yeah.
It's just, that's it. It's just pure nostalgia, and you loved it best whenever you had no responsibilities.
Carefree.
It was all, yeah. But at the same time, it's like when you really try to sit down and talk to people about, okay, what are the things that you love, that you want to keep, you want to preserve? Okay, now how do we prioritize that?
Yeah.
And then how do we then work together to like do the work? Because it's, you talk about vision for a place, but the vision doesn't do any good unless you roll your sleeves up and get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And that's hard. That's the hard parts nobody wants to hear about, man.
That's right. And it does. It takes a lot. I mean, thanks for your comments on some of the things we're doing, but we're just a little small piece of that. And there's a lot of people at work here.
Sure.
And again, wanting to highlight as many of those kind of people on this podcast and talk about these kinds of things, because it does take a lot of work and a large body of people to.
But those stories matter. Those stories matter. I mean, sharing those stories and people to hear those stories. Because, you know, when people walk around and they see the fine arts and they see the neon light up, and they're like, oh my God, I can't remember the last time I saw the neon light up. And I always say, let me tell you who made that happen. And so your name will fall out of my mouth. Because again, credit where credit's due, and you understand there's history there, there's work there. And you got, if you know the workmen, if you know the workwomen, if you know the folks behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
That gives you a greater appreciation, I think, that it's like, that also took a lot of work, a lot of passion, and also a lot of late nights wondering, what the heck am I doing?
What are we doing here?
What did I get myself into, right?
Well, you're making me feel like we need to have Jason Reimer on and Brock to come talk about more about fine arts and what we're doing there. But that's been a fun project. But you know, you said it, and we'll just kind of close with this little thought. You said it yesterday when we were having this conversation in Stronger Town, that some people will say, well, look at what downtown Denton is now, and it's arrived, it's done, it's great.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's still some improvement to be made, we think, right? I mean, it's room for improvement.
Always.
And we're not done. Let's keep going. Let's push the boundaries. Let's push out beyond even the square. Even the square, there's some buildings that need a little love and
That's right.
Occupants. But you go out a block, 2 blocks.
Yeah.
And there's really still a lot of opportunity.
Well, this is it, growing the districts.
Yeah.
So, and grow what the downtown can be. And that's how you make a thriving place. Because I also said the same thing with community. Community doesn't exist outside of you doing it. And the same is true. I know there's a lot of people like, oh, downtown, it's there, it's arrived, it doesn't need any more investment. We need to like start looking at and I'm like, hold on, it's also fragile. Like other places have made this mistake where you rest on your laurels and then you have a few buildings go vacant. And we're seeing that rents going up, places go vacant. Some people are upset, like this, that, or the other, and people getting priced out, whatever. But I'm like, well, hold on. If you look at it as what type of opportunities are these creating to expand? So that place, Andy's, where's a place like 2 blocks off?
Right.
You know what I mean? 3 blocks off. And then what that's going to do is that's going to create a draw. That's going to expand the footprint. You see what I mean? And so the idea is like keep it.
I think
keep
when you
that
say
spirit,
that, I think of people like
it out.
Taylor and Betts and Lois that are down there at True Leaf and Triptych Coffee and what they're doing. I mean, 2 blocks off the square, but that building, and it was a flower shop before, and it was a good little store, but what they've turned it into and the vibrancy and the activity that happens there now, 2 blocks off, it's pulling people down, right? And so we can do that in more directions.
We can do that. That's right. We can build it.
Well, I love it. Well, you keep up your good work and keep telling the stories around town. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your stories and really plugging into some of these little detours and things that you're doing.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Really,
Yeah.
really interesting to learn about you and hear some of your stories and know all the good work you're doing. So, again, if you didn't know Dr. Shaun Treat, now you do. You get to pick a Norman Roscoe hat for being a guest here.
Get out. Oh, well, you can tell I love me some hats. I got
you
hat
like
pins
some
all over
hats,
the place.
so you get to pick one of those up.
I'm picking classic black. I'm
Classic
going to wear that on the
Denton.
tour.
There.
Hold
There
on.
you go.
Nope. Hope for Happiness. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I got to advertise that. Yeah,
That's a good one.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, and folks know where to connect with you now, and I'm sure you'll.
DentonHaunts@gmail.com. Just hit me up.
Let's go. All right. Thanks again for joining us this week
Thank you,
on
Brad.
If You Didn't Know.